So Chrono Trigger and Mario RPG are two of my favorite games for the SNES, but how do they compare against each other? Come on now and find out right here on Juforade. Okay, let's cut to the chase. We got two RPGs on the SNES, and they came out late in its lifespan, and Square pushed these games as hard as their Final Fantasy games. So now when we compare Mario RPG to Chrono Trigger, the three main concepts I'll be comparing is the characters, gameplay, and my personal favorite, and that's music. Now you may be wondering, why am I examining the characters instead of the story? Well, first off, if you play Chrono Trigger, you'll know that the story can easily change depending on which path you take. Whereas in Mario RPG, it has a very basic and linear story with a lot of depth. But neither of the stories of both games are as complex as you think, because when you trim the fat of both games, they both lead to this: galactic invader from outer space, they need to be destroyed, and our heroes are the only ones that could stop them. But what are their motivations to stop the threat? And that's why I'm looking at the characters, so let's start with the main ones. Chrono is just your basic 17-year-old who just wanted to go to the fair one afternoon, which ended up turning into a rescue mission to save a princess he just met in the same afternoon. No thanks to Luca's invention for sending her back in time. As soon as he launched himself in the past, you know he's a selfless hero and he'd be willing to do anything to save his friends or his acquaintances. Then we got Mario, another silent protagonist who launched himself to save the princess, which is normally a Sunday morning for Mario. Except this time, after rescuing the princess, he now has to save the whole Mushroom Kingdom from the Smithy Gang. Their roles are too similar as their decisions are based off of the players, because they are the player characters. But what makes Chrono a little bit more interesting is that he's not necessary for the completion of the total game, unlike Mario, but that's by choice. Now when you compare the party's motivation, that's when you get some parallels. Besides your best friend Luca, the first party member you actually get is the amphibious frog. Well, that's actually his name. But his main motivation for joining you is to avenge, or get revenge, for his friend named Cyrus, who was actually killed by the main antagonist for the first 15 hours of the game, named Magus. Now Magus is a powerful wizard who is using his own power to influence other evil creatures into defeating the main bad guy named Lavos. Or at least that's why he seeks power. And if you want, through your own option, you can actually recruit him into your party. So now you got a party with two characters that basically hate each other. Well, not necessarily. Frog actually forgives Magus, but the nobleness still stands, and Magus still pretends to be this harsh guy, so yeah, there's still a little bit of egginess on this freaking party. Now, such a complex relationship is only represented on the Mario side of things when you encounter Bowser, who lost his keep at the beginning of the game, and only willing to join your party for the sake of defeating the villain and getting back his castle. While Bowser's sorrows are played for laughs, Frog's and Magus' relationship is kept kinda serious, but they fit the mood of each game well. A more tragic character on Mario's side is Mallow, who we first meet. He actually thinks he's actually a frog, who was actually adopted by Frog Fuchsius. But the cloudy mage is really in search of his family, which I thought that's why Robo came along and joined the party upon activation, was to find his creator too, but that's not his main MO, so I guess he's not really all that tragic of a character. Now let's talk about the real character that doesn't really fit any of these RPG stereotypes, and that's Gino. Like all Gary Stews though, he started off as a kid, imaginary characters, and he wanted to add in his own character into his toy Mario universe. But by some miracle, the toy was selected to be the protector of the Star Road, and introduced the story behind the Smithy Gang, the Star Road, and the Star Pieces to Mario and his gang. Now there isn't any tragic elements to his character other than the kid who actually lost his toy and he chose his toy to actually take on its form. But why did Gino stand out is because he fulfills the Final Fantasy character role in a Mario game, which is unexpected but awesome for many, which is why he is a well-liked character, because he's literally from another universe. Now the Chrono Trigger characters, on the other hand, are all from the same universe but all from different timelines. While Marley and Peach play the rambunctious princess role, we're left with no characters to compare to Ayla, the prehistoric queen who simply joins the party just because she's noble, but that can kind of sum up all the Chrono Trigger characters as a whole. Noble. So I think the noble thing to do is to give them the noble point over the ragtag group of Mario characters who all have their own different reasons to save their world, even if it is kind of selfish for some of them. But that can't all point in the same direction like the Chrono Trigger characters. So score 1 for Chrono Trigger. Now on to gameplay. Now what's interesting about both these games is that for RPGs they do not have random encounters. All the enemies are encountered in the field and cannot be encountered in the overworld. Seeing how Mario's overworld is one linear board that you can select different areas, yet on Chrono Trigger's board you could trek across the map and explore, giving the game more of a vastness feel, as well as the time travel that's also involved, but that's another element that really Mario cannot actually do. Yet Mario has more objective-based travel with more iterations and exciting transitions throughout the game. But that's just traveling. What about the combat? Because that's where it really matters. In combat, Chrono Trigger's enemies are constantly moving around, and you got certain attacks that have certain range, so you gotta strategize and hit the enemies when you got the real-time strategy bar going on, and yeah, it's kinda complicated. But Mario RPG? Well, it functions like a RPG. Turn-based, you hit them, they hit you. You wait, and they do nothing while you're waiting. However, what makes these games special is Chrono Trigger has team attacks, while Mario RPG has the whole timed hits. So no matter what, you'll always be engaged in a battle. However, I feel like Mario nailed the RPG elements down with the time hits, as it allows the player to pull off extra damage, giving you the feel that you did the strongest amount of damage as you possibly can. In Chrono Trigger, some of the bosses are more gimmicky, and in their approach, you have to sometimes wait and attack certain weak spots or defend on different patterns when they're showing different signs about to attack. It's very complicated and actually sometimes very unengaging. But once you got the strategy down, it actually makes the bosses a lot more easier. Then again though, seeing how it's Mario RPG and they kind of pulled off a lot of things other than combat, such as being able to jump in an RPG, because you know, what freaking RPG game can you jump in? I find a lot more secrets can be actually hidden in the actual gameplay and not just in the simpleness of talking and wandering around in Chrono Trigger. So where does that spot go to for gameplay? It goes to freaking Mario RPG. Let's all give them a round of applause. Plus, they use timed hits in a lot more other Mario RPGs, so now it's a staple. Now finally, my favorite concept to talk about, and that's music. Especially since it's made by Square, this game has some of the most memorable themes. Well, actually both of these games have memorable themes. Thanks to the internet though, the Robo theme is a lot more recognizable with the Rick Astley theme. While Gino's Forest is actually a lot recognizable thanks to Choreographer. Despite the greats, Mario RPG has borrowed a lot of its tunes from the Mario series, leaving out Chrono Trigger with more original music. So, therefore, I declare a toast to Chrono Trigger, the victor of this versus. Now everybody raise your glass, because you bet your ass Chrono Trigger is a definite good game. But I'm not trying to say that Mario RPG isn't a good game. At the same time, they're both games that make gameplay worth it when you're playing on the SNES, because RPGs, they were legendary. If you guys really like how I compared these two games, be sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter, as well as leave me some more games that I can compare against on my Facebook. Until then, I'm just gonna be enjoying me some Mario RPG because I've been playing this game recently, and yeah, the gameplay still kicks its ass, and I think that's where it really counts. So in the end, both of the games win. What do you guys think? Hey guys, I just really want to say thank you for being so patient and enjoying this video. Just want to let you guys know that I've actually done a playthrough of Mario RPG a long time ago on my old channel, Turtle Kermit. Made these little playthroughs back when I was 18, so if you guys want to see some more of my older content, here you go.